Okay. So now this is the next section of this book, which is Srimati Radharani by His Holiness Bhakti Purushottam Sai Maharaj. So we are today we are discussing the next section, Radharani, the Gopis and the Brajavasis. So first point here is the color of Srimati Radharani's body. The bodily color of Srimati Radharani is like Gorachna, or you can say is like the molten gold or lightning in its static form, lightning. So the form of Radharani is supremely radiant and effulgent due to her Apurva Roop Madhurya. The sweetness of her beauty is ever increasing, so that she always looks more beautiful than before, because the beauty of Srimati Radharani is ever increasing. Each day she looks so much more beautiful, as if she was never as beautiful before. Her bodily color is like gold melted by fire thousands of times. Gold melted by fire thousands of times, and which has thus become very, very, very effulgent. So at the time of meeting with her beloved Sri Krishna, Srimati Radharani becomes more effulgent and more radiant. By her golden effulgence, even trees, creepers, birds, and leaves in the forest are tinged with a golden hue. Srimati Radharani's bodily complexion is such an intense golden color that when she stands next to Krishna, his bodily color also becomes golden. You see, she is so much effulgent is there that when she is next to Krishna, her complexion, effulgence affect Krishna's color, and Krishna also Krishna's color also becomes golden. Okay. Now, there are some very auspicious marks on the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. The lotus feet of Srimati Radharani bear the few marks. Okay. As this is described by Srila Rupa Goswami in Ujjwala Neelamani. Okay, so you might have seen this photo of Srimati Radharani's lotus feet. Okay, so there is one at the base of the large toe of her left foot. Okay, at the base of the large toe of the left foot is the mark of a barley corn. Okay, below that mark is a disc, chakra. Below the disc is an umbrella, okay, and below the umbrella is a bracelet. Okay, you can just search in the Google, you will get Radharani's lotus foot marks. And then there is one vertical line extends from the middle of her foot to the juncture of her large and second toes. At the base of the middle toe is a lotus, and below that is a flag with a banner, and below the flag is a creeper. Okay, together with a flower. And at the base of her small toe is an elephant god, that Ankush, and upon her heel is a half moon. Thus there are 11 marks on her left foot. And now on the right side, at the base of her, the large toe of her right foot is a conch shell, and below that a spear, and at the base of the large toe of her and at the base of a small toe of her right foot is a sacrificial altar. Below that an earring, and below the earring a spear. Along the base of the second, third and fourth and small toe is the mark of a mountain, below which there is a chariot, and on the heel of right foot is a fish. Thus, altogether, there are 19 distinguishing marks on the soles of Srimati Radharani's lotus feet. Okay, so Srimati Radharani is having 25 prime qualities. Unlimited, there are unlimited transcendental qualities, of which 25 qualities are principal. Sri Krishna is controlled by these transcendental qualities of Srimati Radharani. First is Madhurya, very sweet. She is very sweet. Navavyaha, she is always freshly youthful. Then Chala Apanga, her eyes are restless. She is having restless eyes. Ujjwala Smita, she is having a bright smile. Charu Saubhagya Rekha Adhya, she is possessing beautiful auspicious lines on the body. She has beautiful lines. Gandha Unmadita Madhava, by the wonderful fragrance of her, the body exciting Krishna. By her fragrance she excites Krishna. By her bodily aroma. Sangeet Prasar Abhigya, knowledge in the expansion of songs. She is very expert in singing. Ramya Vaka, her speech is very charming. Narma Pandita, she is very expert in joking and speaking pleasantly. Vinita, she is very humble and meek. Karuna Purna, she is always full of mercy. That is very nice. Vidagdha, she is cunning. Patav Anvita, she is expert in executing her duties. Lajja Sheela, she is very shy. Sumaryada, she is always respectful. Dhairya, she is always calm. Gambhirya Shalini, she is always grave. Suvilasa, she is expert in enjoying life. Mahabhava, she is situated at the topmost level of ecstatic love. And Param Utkarsha Tarshani Gokul Prema, she is situated at the topmost level of ecstatic love. She is situated at the topmost level of ecstatic love. Param Utkarsha Tarshani Gokul Prema. And Jagat Shreni Yashaha, she is the most famous of submissive devotees. Guru Sneha, whose great, she is very affectionate to elderly people. She is very, and Sakhi Pranayita Vasha, she is very submissive to the love of her friends. And the second last, that means the 24th is Krishna Priya Avali Mukhya, very important. She is the chief gopi. Krishna Priya Avali, among all the Krishna gopis, Krishna Priya means gopis who are dear to Krishna. Among all of them, she is the Mukha, she is the prime. Ashrava Keshavaha, and she is always, this is the 25th quality, she always keeps Krishna under her control. To whom Lord Keshav is submissive. Keshav is in her control. So that is Srimati Radharani. Now there are 8 dear Sakhis of Srimati Radharani who are like expansion of her body. So their name is Lalita, Vishakha, Chitra, Indulekha, Champaklata, Rangadevi, Tungvidya and Sudevi. These are the 8. Now Lalita Devi, so her mother name is Sharada and father name is Vishoka, and her bodily color is also like Gorachana, and her cloth is the color of a peacock feather. Lalita's Kunj is the color of lightning. Her bhava is Vishuddha Khandita. She is expert at playing the veena, and her seva to the divine couple is offering them tambula, betel nut. So Lalita Devi, she is very expert in playing veena. Okay. So now What is her seva to divine couple Radha and Krishna? She offers them betel nuts, tambula. Vishakha Devi, her mother's name is Sudakshina and her father's name is Pavan Gopa. Her bodily complexion is like lightning. Her cloth is decorated with stars. Lalita Devi cloth is decorated with peacock feather. And her kunja is the color of clouds. Her bhava is Swadhin Bhartrika. She is an expert mridanga player. And her seva to Radha Krishna is offering beautiful scented items like chandana, camphor, aguru, or like that. Tungvidya Devi, her mother name is Megha, her father name is Paushkar, and her bodily complexion is mixture of chandan and camphor, like that. And she wears her white garments, and her kunja is the color of the rising sun, Aruna Varna, reddish like. And she is expert in playing musical instrument, especially the veena. And her bhava is Vipralabdha. And her seva is leader to the gopis who collect clear river water. That is her seva. Chitra Devi, her mother's name is Charchika and her father's name is Chatur. Her bodily color is like Kashmira, saffron dust. And her cloth is the color of crystal, and her kunja is like saffron, kinjalik. And Chitra Devi plays the sitar. And her bhava is Dvi Avisarika, and her seva is to offer cloths and ornaments to Radha and Krishna. Indulekha Devi, her mother's name is Vella and her father's name is Sagar. Her bodily color is like a soft brown and her cloth is like the color of pomegranate flower. And her kunja is bright white and her bhava is Proshit Bhartrik. Her seva is carrying auspicious messages that create pastimes between the divine couple. And she is the leader of the gopis who offer garments and other ornaments to Radha and Krishna. And Champakalata Devi, her mother is Batika and her father's name is Arama. Her body is the color of blossoming yellow champak flower, and her cloth is like the shiny wing of a blue jay. And her kunja is the color of molten gold, and her bhava is Vasaka Sajja. Her seva is to offer the chamar to Radha Krishna, and she is the leader of the gopis who protect the trees, bushes and creepers of Vrindavan. She offers chamar. Rangadevi, her mother's name is Varuna and her father is Bahika, and her complexion is like that of saffron colored lotus stem. Her cloth is Java Kusuma, like red roses, and her kunja is the dark rain cloud color of Shyama. And her bhava is Utkantita, and her seva is applying Alakta, the red dye on the feet. That red dye, altar or something you say. On the feet, the ladies put red dye. Na? Sudevi, she is the twin sister of Rangadevi. Okay. Her bodily color is golden and her cloth is green like tender new leaves. In her kunja, everything is green. Her bhava is Kalahantarita and her seva is offering water to drink. Now, all the Ashtasakhis, they are having different bhavas. So, now we will see what is this all bhava. So, Abhisarika, the heroine, this is Abhisarika means the heroine who leaves her home and travels to meet her lover at the assigned Ranjivas bower, all the while thinking, I will serve Krishna. She leaves her home and goes to meet Krishna, thinking all the while that I will serve Krishna. And Vasak Sajja means the gopis who beautifies her own body, okay, with various types of decoration. That is her bhava. Okay, she decorates her body with various types of decoration in the mood of preparing the chamber for her dearmost lover. She prepares the bed chamber. Utkantita, okay, that is Ranga Devi's bhava. So, okay. So the first one is Vasak Sajja is the bhava of Champaklata Devi, and first Abhisarika is the bhava of Chitra Devi, and the third is Utkantita, that is the bhava of Ranga Devi. ठीक है. So what she does is one who repeatedly glances down the path in great eagerness, anxiously anticipating the arrival of her beloved Sri Krishna. Okay, now Lalita Devi's bhava, which is Khandita, Vishuddha Khandita. When Krishna Hari arrives late, his body bears some signs of having enjoyed with another lover. On such an occasion, the heroine becomes extremely jealous, either chastising him or beating him or something like that. So that is the mood of Lalita Sakhi. Vipralabdha, that is the Tunga Vidya. So when the heroine sits waiting in the secluded place and her lover does not show up at all, then she feels greatly disappointed. That is the mood of Tungavidya Devi. And Kalahantarita, that is Sudevi. So whenever, due to some quarrel with Krishna Hari, the heroine sends him away in her anguish, go away, then she becomes even more sad, bereaved, due to dismissing him, because of anger or some jhagada, she sends Krishna away, and then she becomes sad because Krishna is not there. And then, so that is the bhava of Sudevi. And then next is Proshit Bhartrika, Indulekha Devi. So when Krishna leaves Vrindavan and goes to Mathura, not returning even after many days have elapsed, then the heroine becomes most miserable and suffers terribly in his separation. And the eighth one, which is Swadhin Bhartrika. So that is when the heroine dominates her lover and tames him according to her own whims, then she uses him for enjoying her own flavor of amorous sports. So that is called Swadhin Bhartrika. So that is Vishakha Devi. Okay. So only those gopis acting as heroine, Naikas, can experience these 8 different states of devotional service. In this way, they taste different varieties of separation and union. Okay, so this is the details of Ashtasakhis. Now, 12 ones of Braja, they are, if you want you can write down, or I can send you later on also. There are 12 forests in Vrindavan. Okay, first is Bhadravan, Srivan, or that is also called Bilvavan. Third is Lauhavan, Bhandirvan, Mahavan, Talvan, Khadirvan, Bahulavan, Kumudvan, Kamyavan, Madhuvan and Vrindavan. These are the 12 forests of Braja. Vrindavan is most dear to Krishna and is regarded as the greatest among all the forests. So, why the Brajavasis stayed in Vraja? So in his manifested pastime, Krishna left Vrindavan for Mathura. At that time, he was not visible in Braja. After staying in Mathura for 13 years and 6 months, Krishna then went to Dwarka. In the spiritual realm, Krishna is present simultaneously in Vrindavan, in Mathura and Dwarka, enacting his pastimes eternally. So he is simultaneously present in Vrindavan, in Mathura, in Dwarka, and manifesting his pastimes eternally. But in this material world, only one form of Krishna is visible, which means that when he is in Mathura, he can only be seen in Mathura, not in Vrindavan or Dwarka. This is the difference between Krishna's Prakat Leela in the material world and his Aprakat Leela in the spiritual world. So Prakat Leela in the material world, and there is different Leela which is Aprakat Leela in spiritual world. So although the Brajvasis love Krishna more than their lives, still when he left Vrindavan, they did not desire to go with him. There. Outside of Vrindavan, their natural love and the mood of Madhurya is restricted, reduced or absent. That mood of Madhurya manifests fully only in Vrindavan. So outside of Vrindavan, that natural love which they have Krishna in the mood of Madhurya, that is restricted or reduced or absent. The reciprocation experienced between Krishna and the Brajvasis in Vrindavan is not possible in Mathura. That is not possible. Krishna enjoys the special ras of his relationship with the Brajvasis. In Vrindavan, Krishna carried the shoes of Nanda Maharaj on his head. He smeared his body with the dust from Yashoda Ma's lotus feet. When defeated in games by his friends, he carried them in victory upon his shoulders. Okay. When Krishna used to play with his cowherd boys, friends, sometimes the friend will defeat him. And there will be a condition that if whoever gets defeated, he will carry the other one on his head, on his back. He will become like horse and he have to carry to some distance. Like that. So Krishna did that. Then, so he carried them in victory upon his shoulders. When Srimati Radharani displayed her anger, he fell at her feet and begged forgiveness. Who? Krishna. He begged forgiveness from Srimati Radharani. My God. Transcendental. So such pastimes are not possible in Mathura, which is Aishwarya Dham. Vrindavan is Madhurya Dham. Mathura is Aishwarya Dham. And Mayapur is Audarya Dham. Only mercy. So the absence of awe and reverence is only possible in Braj Dham. Nowhere else can such pastime take place. Because in Vrindavan, Braj Dham, there is no reverence, that feel is not the, oh, you Supreme Personality of Godhead, let us offer our humble obeisances. No. He is our friend only. Chalo, we will go and play. Like that. Okay. So, that is the mood of Brajvasis. And because of this, they stay in Vraja only. They did not go to Mathura. Otherwise, they could have gone. They did not go. Because they are, what the mood is, that will manifest only in Vraja. Okay, that's the point. So when Krishna left Vrindavan for Mathura, now second thing, this is the first point, the second point. The first reason is this, because of their mood. That is the first reason why Brajvasis stay in Braj. Now second point, when Krishna left Vrindavan for Mathura, he told the Brajvasis, very soon I will return. The Brajvasis, in their simple yet complete love for Krishna, accepted his words with full faith. Thus, their faith in Krishna made them stay and await his return. Okay, fine. Even if Krishna had left Braja, now this is the third reason. First reason is the mood, second reason is because Krishna said, I will come back. Okay, now, and they had full faith in Krishna's words that anyway he will come back. Now, third thing. Even if Krishna had left Braja, the memories of his pastimes in Vrindavan and the surrounding towns, villages and pasturing grounds gave so much pleasure to the Brajvasis and sustained them. Even in their pain of separation from Krishna, the memories of Krishna in Vrindavan were their life and soul. So because there are so many memories around, they could not leave because of that. And fourth, although the Brajvasis were suffering intense separation from Krishna, still they did not leave for Mathura because Uddhav and Narad Muni would visit Braja and give them news for Krishna. What is that? Although all the Brajvasis were suffering intensely because of separation from Krishna, still they did not leave. They did not go Mathura. Why? Because Uddhav and Narad Muni would visit Braja and give them news of Krishna. So these visits gave pleasure to the Brajvasis, and so they stayed in Vrindavan because Vrindavan was Krishna. Uddhava and Naradji used to come and they give information, news about Krishna. So they were satisfied that news their visit were giving them pleasure. Fifth reason is the Brajvasis were suffering so much that they could have left their bodies. Indeed, they sometimes wanted to leave their bodies and end the suffering. But they knew that if they left their bodies, Krishna would learn of this and it would cause him so much pain. If Krishna will come to know that Brajvasis left their bodies in separation of me, Krishna will feel so much pain. So the thought of Krishna's suffering because of their actions was too painful to consider, and so they maintained their lives. See, they are already suffering because of separation of Krishna. Okay, so Brajvasis, they are already suffering, they are having pain. So they thought, we cannot bear this pain, so let us finish our life. But then they thought, when Krishna will come to know that Brajvasis end their life in my separation, Krishna will feel more pain. So this exercise, this action of ours will give pain to Krishna, thinking that Brajvasis did not end their life and they continued suffering. That is the intense love of Brajvasis for Krishna. Okay, now, we have some time till 9 o'clock. So we will discuss some childhood pastimes of Srimati Radharani's. Or so once while traveling the universe and playing on his Veena, Narad Muni reached Goloka to take darshan of Sri Krishna. He found that every pastime looks very pale. He sat down to meditate and thus understood that the Lord along with his associate had descended to the material world. Narad Muni desired to see the Lord in the material world. He went to Goloka. He found that Krishna went to Bhuloka. So he came down. So when Naradji understood that Krishna along with his devotees had descended there in Bhuloka, Narad Muni desired to see Krishna in the material world, so he travelled to Bhaum Vrindavan, that means Vrindavan on Bhuloka. So first he came to house of Nanda Maharaj. There he saw the Lord in his baby form, sleeping on the very soft bed in a nicely designed cot made of gold. All the cowherd ladies were watching him and deriving pleasure from the wonderful vision of Krishna. So the Lord was pleasing everyone by glancing at them from the corners of his eyes. His blue-black curled hair scattered over his face was making Krishna very beautiful. So Narad Muni was very happy to see his worshipable Lord in this baby form, completely naked, and told Nanda Maharaj, "No one knows the unlimited qualities of your son. Even great demigods like Shiva, Brahma and Indra desire eternal attachment to him. The character of this boy will be the cause of happiness for everyone. Devotees will love to hear and chant of his activities. You should give up every hope for this world and the higher planets and simply develop love for this boy." Who said? Naradji to Nanda Maharaj. So Narad Muni then left Nanda Maharaj's house, and he thought, now Lord Sri Hari has appeared to display his pastime in this material world. So in this way his eternal consort must have appeared as a gopi somewhere in Braja to help my Lord in his pastime. Krishna came, so Radharani must have come. So there is no doubt about this. So today I must go to the house of every Brajvasi to find where is Srimati Radharani, where she appeared. So thinking like this, Narad Muni visited every house in Braja. He was received very nicely and worshipped by the Brajvasis everywhere he went. Finally, Narad Muni reached the house of King Vrishabhanu. Narad Muni told him, "You are very famous all over the world for your religious nature. I can see you are very rich with so much opulence. So please let me know if you have any son or daughter. I would like to see them." Hearing this, Vrishabhanu brought his most effulgent son Sridama to show Narad Muni and to offer obeisances to Munivar. So by seeing this most beautiful form of the boy, Narad Muni was very happy. Out of great affection, he embraced the boy again and again and told Vrishabhanu, "Your son will be a dear friend of Krishna and Balaram. He will play with them day and night. He is very fortunate. So please take care of him nicely." So Narad Muni was preparing to leave when Vrishabhanu Maharaj said, "This boy has a younger sister also, who, although as beautiful as the denizens of heaven, but actually she is blind, deaf and dumb. She is very beautiful, very effulgent, but she is deaf, dumb, blind. I request that you please be kind enough to make her normal by giving your holy darshan. So please come inside and bless the girl." So Narad Muni became very curious and entered the room. Then he saw the daughter of King Vrishabhanu playing on the ground. Immediately Narad Muni picked up the girl and put her in his lap. He felt very jubilant to see this girl. The same jubilation he had felt when seeing Krishna. So he was feeling so much ecstasy that he momentarily lost his senses and became stunned and still like a stone. So when he came back to his external senses, he opened his eyes and was so surprised that he could not utter any words. Narad thought, "I have travelled everywhere, including Brahmaloka, Rudraloka, Indraloka, but I have never seen so beautiful a girl as this. I have seen the daughter of Himalaya, Devi Parvati. Her beauty pleases everyone in this material world, but her beauty cannot touch this girl. The beauty of Lakshmi and Saraswati would not equal even the shadow of this girl. I have seen the Mohini form of Lord Vishnu, which bewildered Lord Shiva, but her beauty is not equal to the beauty of this girl. I do not have the power to understand the truth of this girl. She is a dear consort of Sri Hari. No one can understand her. Just by having darshan of this girl, I am feeling so much love for Govinda. I have never felt such intense love for Krishna before. I must glorify her by offering prayers and obeisances to her in a solitary place." And Narad Muni then offered his prayers as follows. Now Narad Muni is saying, "O Devi, you are Mahayoga Swarupani. You are chief consort of Goklok Bihari Sri Krishna Sri Hari. You are always immersed in the most wonderful bliss of mallows. I have received your darshan due to my great fortune. You are always engaged in meditating on your Prana Vallabha Shyama Sundar and thus deriving internal bliss. Your most beautiful and sweet face expresses the joy from experiencing your own bliss, and you are internally blissful and ever satisfied. You have given birth to Mahavishnu. You are the cause of cosmic manifestation, its maintenance, its annihilation. You are Vishuddha Sattva. You are Parasakti, Vishuddha Sattva Sarupa. You are the Brahma Gayatri and the mother of all the Shruti. Even great demigods like Brahma and Rudra do not know the tattva of your being. Yogendra and Munindra cannot understand you by meditation. That's what the Radha Kripa Kataksha Stotra is saying also. Govinda's Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti are your parts only. You are Ahladani Shakti, Anand Rupani and Ishwari. There is no doubt about this. Sri Krishna is having eternal pastimes with you in the forest called Vrindavan. In your baby form, you have bewildered the whole universe with your beauty. By the form, Nanda Nandan Sri Krishna also becomes bewildered and faints by seeing your form. I am surrendered unto your lotus feet and offering my humble obeisances to you. If you feel I am qualified, then kindly manifest your Kishori form to me. Now this is baby form, but Kishori form. Narad Muni offered his obeisances to Radharani and started to glorify the beauty of Sri Krishna. When Srimati Radharani hears the glories of the form and qualities of her most dear Shyamasundar, then she manifests in her most complete form. Moreover, to hear from a great devotee like Narad Muni was more pleasing to hear. So when Narad Muni started to glorify the beauty of Sri Krishna, then Srimati Radharani accepted her most attractive and beautiful Kishori form of a 14-year-old girl. Kishori form, 14-year-old girl. At that time also all her Sakhis appeared there and surrounded Radharani. They were dressed nicely and decorated with many ornaments. By seeing this, Narad Muni could not continue to offer his prayers any longer. He was in so much in ecstasy that he became stunned and no words came from his mouth. The Sakhis then brought water and washed the lotus feet of Radharani and sprinkled the water upon Narad Muni and told him, O great Muni, you must have served Lord Sri Hari, who is eager to fulfill the desire of his devotees with great transcendental devotion. That is why today you have been able to see the most wonderful eternal Kishori forms of Sri Hari Vallabha Radharani. Even Brahma, Rudra, great Rishis, Siddhas, Munis and other Bhagavatas have not seen this form of Sri Radhika. What to speak of seeing her? They do not know about her. Today, she has given you darshan in this Kishori form. You are very fortunate. O Brahman, be patient and get up. Circumambulate Srimati Radharani and offer your obeisances to her again and again. This most attractive form of Radharani is flickering like lightning. Her Kishori form will disappear now. The Sakhis continued. There is one Ashoka tree on the bank of Kusum Sarovar at the foot of Govardhan. So we have been to Kusum Sarovar. So that Ashoka tree produces flowers always. The sweet smell of these flowers spreads all over the forest and makes the whole area very fragrant. You will again attain our darshan under that Ashoka tree at midnight. Later, when the proper time comes, you will see Radharani along with her Sakhis. So that was the pastime again happened in the Kusum Sarovar. So saying this, the gopis disappeared from there. And again Srimati Radhika assumed her baby form. Maharaj Vrishabhanu returned to the room. He saw Narad Muni offering obeisances to the child and asked him, O Muni, why are you offering prayers to my baby daughter? Narad Muni assured Maharaj Vrishabhanu that all was well. Then he left the place. And then, on the day following Srimati Radharani's birth, Puranamasi Devi came to the house of Vrishabhanu on the invitation of Kirtida. So as soon as she saw the baby girl, immediately she felt so much ecstasy and said, it is none other than Raseswari who has appeared in your house. She advised Kirtida and Vrishabhanu, take nice care of this girl. She is the origin of Lakshmi Devi. She is Ishwari, the controller of Bhuloka and Goloka. She is always worshipped by the Gopya Kanya, cowherd girls. Great personalities like Brahma, Shiva, Indra, Marut and Varuna constantly offer their prayers at her lotus feet. Just as Sri Hari appears on this earthly planet by his sweet will, in the same way this girl, who is the eternal consort of Sri Hari, has appeared in your house. By seeing, touching or worshipping this girl, all desires will be fulfilled. She has appeared here to perform some confidential pastimes. You must take care of her very nicely. After some time, when King Vrishabhanu and Kirtida were looking at their beautiful daughter more closely, they suddenly realized she was not seeing anything. Her eyes were still closed. Everyone, including Kirtida, started to cry in distress that such a beautiful girl was blind. Still, even though she was blind because of her unparalleled beauty, everyone came to see the newborn daughter of Vrishabhanu and Kirtida. Even though she was blind, but everybody was attracted towards her beauty. Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda also came there, along with their son Krishna. Nanda Maharaj and Vrishabhanu Maharaj embraced when they met, and Mother Yashoda was greeted with a long affection by Kirtida. She took her inside the house and also embraced her. Lord Krishna embraced that his eternal consort Sri Radha had appeared in the house of Kirtida. Lord Krishna understood that Srimati Radharani is there in this house. She appeared. Radharani, in the form of the baby girl, was lying on the bed while both Yashoda and Kirtida were busy discussing the newly born girl, her unfortunate blindness. Newly born baby, but unfortunately she is blind. Sri Krishna climbed down from the lap of Mother Yashoda. Entering the room where Radharani lay sleeping, he climbed onto her bed and touched her eyes. Immediately she opened her eyes to take darshan of her beloved Krishna. She just do not want to see anything in this world before seeing her beloved Krishna. That is the pure love. When Kirtida and Yashoda saw Radharani's eye had opened, they were very happy and immediately shared the news with everyone present there. There was much jubilation in the house of Maharaj Vrishabhanu and Mother Kirtida. There is another description regarding opening of Radharani's eye, maybe in another kalpa, that Mother Yashoda came to the house of Kirtida carrying her son Krishna in her arms. When Yashoda saw the beautiful daughter of Kirtida, immediately she placed Krishna on the ground and picked up Radharani. Cradling the child in her lap, seeing this, Krishna became upset and started to cry because she put Krishna and took Radharani. He started to cry. Yashoda bent down and picked up Krishna, also placing him on her lap. It is the nature of children that whenever they come together, they try to touch each other. So when Radha and Krishna came close to each other in the lap of Mother Yashoda, Krishna reached out to touch Radharani. At his touch, Radharani realized her Krishna was there in front of her and opened her eyes to take darshan of him. Her first sight on this earthly planet. And the reason for Radharani taking birth as a blind girl, what is the reason? Reason is, in Goloka Dham, Lord Krishna was preparing to come to the earth planet to perform his Bhaum Leela. He mentioned to Radharani that she also had to come to appear in his pastimes. But Radharani expressed her reluctance to come to earth because she would have to see so many people when the only one she wished to look upon was Sri Krishna. She only wanted to see Krishna, but in the earth she has to see so many people. Krishna assured her that on earth she would be able to see him always. Radharani accepted on the condition that on earth the first person she saw would be Krishna. That is why she appeared as a blind girl and gained her sight only in the presence of her beloved Shyama Sundar. So, this was the some childhood pastime. There are some more stories. We can take that tomorrow. Okay. So, thank you so much for your presence and your attention and your time. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Srimati Radharani ki jai. Sri Sri Radha Ashtami Maha Mahotsav ki jai. Sri Sri Shyam Sundar Bhagavan ki jai. Sri Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So there is two question, but I will explain this to you, Mataji. I will call you, okay, or maybe tomorrow, but I will explain you. I have actually today there are some guests here in Chitrakoot. Around like 22 guests are there, so I have to take care of now them to arrange breakfast prasadam for them. So I must leave. I thank you all for your presence and for your blessings. Hare Krishna. So kindly pray for me so that we can celebrate here Radhashtami nicely. Hare Krishna. Any quick question or comment, then I can answer. Any small thing. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for joining. Shil Prabhupada ki jai.